a piece of me is missing now. You know, I don't get to make more memories with her. She's such a huge part of our family's life, and she's gone. And it's sad to think of the memories that I could have made, the conversations we could have had, the things we could have done together.
Viewer discretion is advised for this educational documentary. Welcome or welcome back to CASE Documentaries. I bring you true crime, disturbing stories and other things that you may later regret knowing with regular uploads every week. Please do join the quickly growing CASE family by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me. Our love and respect goes out to those that knew and loved Justine. Justine Vanderschoot was born on the 30th of March 1986 to father Don and mother Lynette in Napa County, California. She had an older sister called Christine. She was a student at Maidu High School and lived in Christian Valley with her family since she was 10 years old. She loved cheerleading, baseball, basketball, cars and cosmetology. Justine was always with her friends, family and later her boyfriend. Her trademark was her strawberry blonde hair. She was fair-skinned and had lots of freckles and got a nose ring in her teenage years. She stood at 5 feet 6 inches tall. The Vanderschoot home was a popular place for young people to hang out in Christian Valley. Don and Lynette were known as second parents due to the way they welcomed people into their home. Justine's sister Christine met a boy named Brandon Fernandez at Colfax High School. He was dating her friend at the time. Christine said that Brandon was computers. That was everything. He didn't have much of a social life, but that's what he wanted to do. In the year 2000, Brandon brought his friend Daniel Bezemer to a pool party at the Vanderschoot house. Here, Justine and Daniel met for the first time. At first, Justine wasn't enamored with Daniel. Daniel, however, straight away had stronger feelings for the girl. She was not interested, however, Daniel persisted in wooing her. Sister Christine said, "At first, Justine said she didn't like him, he wasn't her type. But we went to the lake the next day and before we knew it, they were together." Justine's positive attitude, professionalism and maturity beyond her years meant that she secured an assistant position at Auburn Cardiology. Office manager Linda Tobin said, "For someone so young, she had a really good rapport with the patients. Justine would seek work she could do if things slowed down at the office," she recalled. She also said that she took on additional duties rather than leave the office early if there was nothing to do. "I feel this gives a real insight into the person that Justine was." Linda Tobin also recalled that Justine said, "All I do is go home and wait for my boyfriend to get off work." Justine also had a way with children. She liked to play with the 8-month-old twins brought to the office by the parents who also worked at the practice. Another co-worker recalled Justine wearing a ring that was given to her by Daniel. She said she was engaged but wasn't getting married anytime soon. In 2002, Daniel, now officially Justine's boyfriend, and Brandon moved in together into a 2-bedroom apartment in Auburn. It was the classic setup that you'd expect two young men to have. Barely any furnishing but plenty of video games. This was a favourite pastime of both of the men. One item of furniture that did stand out though was 3 velvet bar stools given as a housewarming gift to Daniel by the Vanderschoot sisters. Friends of the young men said they mostly stayed to their own rooms where they just played video games all day. Michaela Jameson, a 16-year-old friend of Justine, said, "I wasn't really friends with them, but we'd go over to their apartment to hang out because there'd be no parents. They were both pretty weird. All they did was play Nintendo. And Danny was a really jealous person. He and Justine would get into fights every day because she changed her cell phone password so he couldn't listen to her messages." Another friend of Justine's, Jenny Heimlich, aged 17, said Daniel made her feel uncomfortable. He would say weird things about being jealous and things that he could get away with, she said. This same friend's parents brought cookies and leftover treats from church functions round to the apartment. Justine's sister, Christine, said about this, "The parents are really religious and Brandon had some problems with them because because he didn't agree with them. Daniel and Brandon's neighbour, Christine Burris, aged 19, said, "They seemed nice, but they didn't say a lot." She described Justine as really sweet. Daniel, as well as playing video games, would also fix up cars from home and then resell them as a side hustle. But his main job was at a Subaru garage. Teacher Mike Tucker worked closely with both Justine and Daniel at school. He said that Daniel was less than 10 credits away from graduation when he dropped out. They were really serious about each other, he said. They were very mature about their relationship. Danny was a good student. He was bright, punctual, and always had his work done, he said. On Monday, September the 1st, 2003, Justine's parents had just arrived home from a Labor Day ski vacation. Ever helpful, Justine assisted her mum in crafting some invites for a jewellery party. She then had dinner with her boyfriend and her parents. Sometime later, Daniel left the Vanderschoot home. Justine asked her parents for money so she could fill her truck up with petrol or gas. The parents lent her their credit card. The following day, she had an interview with her employer, Auburn Cardiology, for a receptionist role. She hadn't worked there for long but made such a strong impression they wanted to take her on in a permanent position. Her dad said that right there and then, this job interview was the most important thing in the world to Justine. To say she was excited was an understatement. She had her whole outfit planned and it was laid out in her room ready to go. She then took a shower, called her older sister who was in Napa, set her alarm clock, said goodnight to her mother and went up to bed between 10:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. Just an hour or two later, now in the early hours of Tuesday, September the 2nd, Mother Lynette woke up at 12:30 a.m. She noticed the front door was ajar. Lynette said, "I went to her bedroom and opened her door. Her TV was on, her purse was sitting there, her dog was on the bed. I figured, oh, she snuck out to go and see her boyfriend. She went there and maybe fell asleep. I thought she was going to be grounded for a week." Lynette got up once more for her Federal Express job around 4 hours later. She took the dog out for a walk, and that is when she noticed her daughter's truck was missing. Justine had taken her cell phone and keys. However, she left behind her purse and the credit card to buy gas that had been lent to her by her parents. At 11:30 a.m, Mother Lynette received a message from Auburn Cardiology. Justine never made it to the interview. Lynette left a message for boyfriend Daniel, hoping to shed some light on where her daughter was. All of the pieces of the puzzle that had revealed themselves over the last few hours now fell into place. The open door, the credit card, the TV left on, the purse, missing the interview. She started to panic. Justine was reported missing. The search was on. On Wednesday the 3rd of September, Justine's beloved truck, purchased with her own savings, was discovered at the Meadow Vista Park and Ride. A private search and rescue party made up of around 30 people searched the area. 20 miles of Union Pacific Railroad tracks nearby to the Park and Ride were also searched. Father Don was heavily involved in the search effort to locate his daughter, saying, "We've got to undertake some of these things on our own initiative." The team found a brand new pair of Oakley sunglasses. This was something that everyone hoped would be a strong lead for the case, as they were handed over to the Placer County Sheriff's Department. A family friend said, "She just disappeared into thin air." On Thursday, September the 5th, the search for Justine was stepped up. By the time the day was through, almost 40 friends, family and neighbours had circulated 1,800 flyers and posters through the area. Father Don arranged a further 500 flyers to be handed out at the opening night of the local Gold County Fair. He said about his ongoing efforts, "We're just using our heads and our resources. We are not professional, but we're giving it all we can. We're only 3 days into it and we're motivated still." Police now search for more clues in the Vanderschoot house as well as the Park and Ride where Justine's truck was discovered. A police spokesperson said, "Foul play is not yet suspected. It has not been ruled out either. The situation is unusual because Vanderschoot has never been listed as a runaway before, but most of the personal items she would normally take with her were left in her bedroom. There are some things that make it more suspicious than your usual runaway." Father Don added, "If she's run away, we don't understand why. We love her so much, we want her to come home. If you don't want to come home, just let us know." On Friday, September the 7th, the family put up a reward of $15,000. Horseback search and rescue teams once more searched the area, covering more ground more quickly. Mother Lynette released a new statement saying, "I want her to know we love her. Everyone is out there looking for you. Justine, your friends are here, your grandparents and your sister. Please call." By Tuesday, September the 10th, everyone was starting to accept that Justine wouldn't have just upped and left.
Did you have anything to do with Justine's disappearance?
Absolutely not.
Lieutenant Carl Fullenwider said, "There's a flavour of it that isn't like normal runaways. It makes us more anxious as time goes by." The family now distributed thousands of flyers around the wider Placer County and Sacramento. Efforts by police and the family were generating a large number of leads. However, none of them were fruitful. That night, a candlelit vigil of hope was held at the park and ride where Justine's truck was found. On Wednesday, September the 17th, searches continued throughout the day. Justine's boyfriend, Daniel Bessemer, and his roommate, Brandon Fernandez, were arrested at 8:30 p.m. The charge? Murder. During the interview, both Daniel and Brandon were open with the police. They directed officers to a precise location. 9 months earlier, Daniel was growing suspicious of Justine. He felt that she wasn't telling him enough or replying to his calls and messages as he would like. In a vastly out of proportion reaction to this issue within a teenage relationship, instead of speaking with Justine or simply breaking up with her, he and Brandon tapped the Vanderschoot's phone line, meaning they could listen in to all of the calls made to and from the house. This meant that he heard things he shouldn't have heard. Conversations where Justine spoke honestly and openly, sharing her innermost thoughts about her relationship with Daniel. She was having second thoughts and considering breaking up with him. It is suggested that her feelings towards Daniel had fizzled, and there was someone else that she had started to develop feelings for. During their time together, Daniel had dropped out of school and played video games. Justine, however, was quickly moving upwards in her life and career. Perhaps it's not surprising that some distance grew between the two teens. Daniel was scared of being dumped. He wouldn't accept that Justine would even consider leaving him, and seemingly didn't want her to succeed and grow even further above him by having her job interview. Daniel and Brandon hatched a plan to remove Justine entirely from the situation. Sometime either very late on September the 1st or very early on September the 2nd, Justine was coaxed out of the house. The fact that she left her purse and parents' credit card behind, as well as leaving the door open, suggests that she thought it would only be a fleeting visit with Daniel in the night. However, Daniel and Brandon knew that she would never be returning. After being lured away from the safety of her home, the pair attacked Justine. They throttled and beat her, and took her to a hole in the ground that had been dug 2 weeks prior to this event. This was planned and premeditated. There, she was thrown into the hole and buried alive in a wooded area east of Interstate 80, underneath manzanita trees at a remote site near Applegate. Placer County Undersheriff Stephen Darcy said, "Without being pointed out to us, she would have remained here a very long time." Father Don said, "I set out to teach her the ways of the world. However, I learned a lot from her that I can never teach. We'll all miss her a lot, and we love her." Sister Christine said, "I'll miss the way she used to pick my outfits out and tell me if I looked good or not. But in the end, those are the memories that I'll keep with me. Remember the good times, and they'll stay with you for a lifetime." At trial, both defendants pled not guilty to murder. However, they were both found guilty. In 2005, Daniel received a sentence of 25 years to life, and Brandon received a sentence of 15 years to life. They have both appealed several times but currently remain incarcerated. Do you think the punishments fit the crime here? Let me know down in the comments. Join the Dark Case family by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Like the video to boost the signal of this case. Thank you to all of my supporters in the Dark Case crew. You too can join for just 99 pence per month. And a huge thank you to all of my patrons: Rachel David, Kathy Green, David James, Addie Alexander, Karen Jones, El Palmieri, James Harrington, Shane Woodward, Faster River, Stacey Krogerus, Summer Chambers, Mona Corona, Cepheid Variable, Anthony Watson, and Jeremy Sebranek. Be careful out there, and I'll see you soon.